must be wondering, why is an influencer here today? What is she going to teach us, right? So I am single, but I'm not looking for a suitable MBA boy for my family or for a man in finance, 6'5", blue eyes, trust fund, in case somebody meets that description here. Then I've definitely lucked out, guys. What I'm here to talk about today is something some of us have spent 30-40 lakhs trying to learn. How to build narratives that sell, but more importantly, what happens when you start living inside them. One of my most favorite actors of all time, sorry Shah Rukh Khan, is Jim Carrey. Have you heard of him?
Yes.
His movie, The Truman Show, is really relevant to what I want us to examine today. In that movie, the protagonist had no idea that he was living inside a manufactured reality. The sky was fake. His house was part of a set. His wife was scripted. But the coffee was perfect every morning. The neighbors would wave every morning. So he never bothered to question it. Why question something that's working perfectly fine for you, even if it's fake? The most bizarre thing about that movie is not that everything was fake. It was the fact that Truman had it in him to question it. One day, the sky started glitching in his set, and he laughed it off. He started gaslighting himself that it doesn't make sense, something's wrong with me. That is the question I want us to examine today. Have we gotten so used to our manufactured reality that we've forgotten to question the sky? We've started gaslighting ourselves into believing that this is how it is. This reminds me of another story, Babel. It's a story in the Bible where a few people in a town, they share a common language, okay? So they have this task to build a huge building. And they are building it, but in between, God is like, no. Let me mess with them, let me scramble their speech. Now they're unable to communicate with each other, so they're unable to finish that project. We are living in Babel 2.0. What do I mean by that? I'm someone who believes in manifestation. Okay, so my Instagram feed would show me the neuroscience of manifesting, how to read tarot cards. My brother, we live in the same house, okay, same room. He would get memes on manifestation. How it's a South Delhi girl hobby to do, right? How it's a dumb thing to do. So when we both sit together and discuss manifestation, I will talk about the neuroscience of it, why it's a cool thing to do, why it's helpful. Let me read your tarot. He will come from a universe where there are memes around it. The point I'm trying to make here is that now we don't exist in the world. We exist in a world. Tvisha's world, your world, and it'll be different. So when we don't have a common world, how will we have topics to even disagree on when we don't agree on the existence of certain topics? And I'm not trying to sound very high and mighty here, right? But take another example. A friend of mine, he suddenly started getting reels on his feed about how to spot a narcissistic partner. His girlfriend was getting reels on how to spot a manipulative boyfriend. They had a perfectly healthy relationship before this started happening. Now, they start projecting those traits onto each other. Of course they broke up. But do you see what happened? Their worlds started drifting apart. So they started projecting the qualities they started seeing constantly on their feed onto each other. Now, I'm a creator. We create narratives. We tell the algorithm what to narrate to you. But how do we do that? Let me give you another personal example. I recently made a very conspiracy-ish reel. Yes, I'm very self-aware like that. It was around BlackRock, recession, and all these different things, connecting all of them. It got me more than 60,000 followers in less than 24 hours. My brain instantly went, okay, this works, more content like this. So because a certain behavior or way of writing was rewarded, as a creator, I will continue creating content that's serving my best interest. I am not a Nikhil Kamath, guys. I will not create content that just for the sake of it. I need to pay my bills. Gurgaon rent is crazy. And this is the story of every single creator. Now, the followers I got from that reel, they're already people who believe BlackRock is evil. Conspiracy theories are real. It wasn't a new idea they were exposed to. It was something they already had some leaning towards. Which brings me to another point. We think there is diversity of new ideas now because of social media. I think there's just illusion of new ideas. Because what you've already believed in simply gets reinforced. I think algorithm is Regina George from Mean Girls. Do we know of the movie? So if Regina George accidentally stained her t-shirt, other girls would intentionally stain their t-shirt just so they could look cool and Regina George could approve. Algorithm is just like that. Raise your hand if you play pickleball, want almond nails, want to get red hair, want to get a Dyson, want to wear Sabyasachi for your wedding. Algorithm has Regina George too. What do I mean by this? Earlier I was saying, oh, we are all so different. Now I'm saying we all look the same. We dress the same, we hobby the same, we want to go to the same restaurant. We have similar Pinterest boards saved on our phone. And we think it's a compliment when we say someone, oh, so Pinteresty. This translates to, oh, so common, 10,000 people also do this. This is the paradox of mass personalization. Because we have so many options, so many new things that we are exposed to, cognitive laziness, right? You will now jump back to whatever is a pre-curated template. Whatever some influencer I like approves of, let me follow that. Normative mimicry. Recently, there was a sunscreen scandal that happened. Yeah, I see some heads going, yes. It was probably an MBA person's idea only, to be honest. What happened? There was a parent company that started a campaign where the influencer had to say that they started this lab research on sunscreen brands. 5 brands passed the test, 5 failed the test. The ones that passed the test belong to the parent company. Now, the test was very much real. The facts were very much real. Yes, the brands passed, those brands failed. What was not true was that there was no disclosure. People thought an unbiased influencer went ahead, did this research, and came out with these results. That resulted in this narrative formation of what the new truth is. These 5 brands are amazing, these 5 brands are bad. Except you don't know who benefits from that version of the truth. I'm not saying it's a lie. And that is how truth is formed these days. The algorithm does not care about what's half-truth, fully truth, strategic truth. It only cares about virality, retention, flop, and boring. I was scripting on a certain topic, okay? I was using Perplexity. I went to the sources and I saw one of the sources was a LinkedIn article somebody had written. By chance, I opened that article, and within that article, there was something factually inaccurate. So I was like, I'm not going to mention that in my script. But imagine if someone else used that script. You know what happens with viral reels, right? They get copied. So an inaccurate fact gets copied. That influencer also gets millions of views. You have 2 viral reels on a very inaccurate fact. The third person quotes these other 2. Nobody remembers where the lie started from. And now you have a new truth in front of you. So what really is true? Something that gets maximum visibility these days. And then Perplexity will not only refer to that LinkedIn article, it will refer to those other 3 reels also. And your one inaccurate fact has 3 or 4 sources now verifying it. How well are we gaslighting ourselves? Going back to that question again. I have another example to give. Now you are thinking, this is a creator problem. We are creating lies, right? When I just started creating content, I used to do street interviews, which is basically asking questions to people on the street. What do you do for a living? How much is your outfit worth? Yes, I left Bain to do exactly this. But eventually, embarrassment caught on and I was like, I am not going to do this content. I am going to do business case studies. This cringe content took me from 6,000 to 22,000 followers. But even then I decided I don't want to do this. Now what happened when I changed? People started unfollowing me. I lost more than 4,000 followers. Now why am I repeatedly saying I lost followers, I gained followers? Because I am Bangalore, right? You guys believe in data, and losing followers, gaining followers, all of that is profit loss for me. So I'm giving you data. It's not just the narrative that I'm giving you or the algo is giving you. It's the narrative you also want to believe, which again goes back to the question, do we really have diversity of opinions or just the illusion of it? So who really is shaping these stories of tomorrow? Your algo is saying the sky is blue, yours is probably saying it's pink, yours is saying it's yellow. How will you guys decide that, oh my God, no, it's blue only? Each of you will have different facts supporting whatever statement you are making. At least in the Truman Show, one thing was common, the sky. There was a single shared sky which was glitching. But these days, our world has collapsed into a 6-inch sky. And for all of us, it's ever adaptive. Whatever color you want it to be, it will turn into that. This sounds like a Black Mirror episode, but trust me, it's happening. If you really like the movie Pathaan, I love the movie Pathaan because I love SRK. I was shown reviews hating Dhurandhar. My brother did not like the movie. So he was shown reviews loving Dhurandhar. So if you like Uri, you will really like Dhurandhar. But if you don't like Uri, you will be shown reviews hating Dhurandhar. Now, when both of us sat down to decide if we want to watch Dhurandhar, you bet we had different points to argue on, right? Because we were coming from two very different places. So where do we go from here? We go back to the past. Remember in our parents' generation, and I'm sure you've heard this story numerous times, a Mahabharata episode used to come every week. And that used to be the talk of the town. The entire week they would look forward to that one episode, debate about it, discuss about it. One common thing to look forward to. Do you two people have one common thing to look forward to? Except cricket matches and football, right? We've lost that shared sense of belonging. And in all fairness, I'm really not against individual thinking. The fact that internet exists is why I'm here. Otherwise, I would probably still be in Bain, be a respectable LinkedIn post somewhere. But because individual thinking and the internet exists, I got the freedom to explore ideas beyond what was conventionally considered successful. So I'm not against it. What I'm against is that individual thinking should not come at the cost of a shared world. Where I know this is who I am, you know this is who you are. But collectively as a society, what are we? Is there something bigger than us that's common to all of us? A world that we share in common? So the most important question that we are dealing with right now is not if this is fake, that is fake, what that influencer is saying is true or fake. The actual question that we are dealing with right now is if everyone is right and if reality is plural, who is left to question if the sky is fake? Thank you.